Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. We continue today our study of the book of Judges. We are in the middle of reading chapter 6. We just finished the last podcast with in the middle of the encounter between the angel who was bringing a message of God to Gideon, telling Gideon, appointing Gideon as the leader who was going to save the people from the Midianites. Gideon was hesitant to believe that this was truly a message of God, a messenger of God, and he went and he brought an offering of some meat and some matzah, gave it to the angel, and the angel performed this miracle by touching the rock with a rod, and the rock burst out in flames and consumed the food. At this point, Gideon, and this is where we're taking it up, Gideon immediately saw that clearly this was truly a message from God that he had just witnessed. And Vayar Gideon, this is verse 22, and Gideon saw ki malach Adonai hu, that he was a messenger of God. Vayomer Gideon, and Gideon said, Aho Adonai Elohim, whoa, this is the Lord God, ki al kain, for Ra'isi Malach Adonai, because I have seen an angel of God, panim el panim, face to face. Now, this language here, seeing an angel of God face to face, is very reminiscent of the language used at that in Genesis when Jacob strove with the angel during the night. Also uses a very similar language there. The point here being that Gideon did not heed the message, or did not believe the message, and he was so humble that he couldn't imagine that God was going to appoint him the leader. Who's he? He was a nobody from a nobody part of from a clan, the weakest clan, and so on, of Manasseh. And he just didn't believe that it was that he was going to lead the people out, and conquer the Midianites and save the people, until he saw that there was a miracle, until he saw a sign. Gideon was kind of lacked in confidence, and also it's a little bit of a lacking in faith, in belief, and in trust. Because remember, there was a prophet who came and said, if the people return to God, then they will be able to withstand the Midianite onslaught. And Gideon should not have had to ask for a sign like this, a miracle. Asking for a miracle like this is going to show us the beginning of the flaw of Gideon. Constantly looking and making sure God shows him some sign that he needing some external sign that shows him that God is with him, rather than just getting the message that he needs to have faith in God and realize that if he lives the right way and does the right thing and leads the people in the right way, then he will be successful. Vayomer lo Adonai, and God said to him, through, of course, this angel, Shalom lecha, there will be peace for you, Al tira, do not be afraid, Lo tomos, you will not die. So Gideon now has the guarantees that he needs, which should be enough. Vayiven sham Gideon mizbeach Adonai, Gideon built a altar to God, Vayikra lo Adonai Shalom, and he called this place, God is peace. Until this day, that altar is there, and it's the place that's called God is peace. Odenu bi Ofrat Avi Ezri, and it stands in the Ofra of the Avi Ezri people, which, remember, that's the clan that his father Yoash was the leader of, the Avi Ezri people, the Abi Ezrites. Vayihi balayla hahu, and it was that night. Now this mizbeach, this altar to God, is not enough. It's not enough, and we'll see why in a minute. It's great to worship God and recognize that by building a relationship with God, one will bring about peace. But that's not enough. It wasn't that night. Vayomer lo Adonai, and God said to him, presumably through this angel that appeared to him, Kach et par hashor asher lo avicha. Take this ox which your father has, ufar hasheni, and another ox, sheva shonim, which is 7 years old, vihorasto es hamizbeach es mizbach habal asher lo avicha, and destroy the altar which your father has, which is built for the Baal, for the idol, the Baal, which is the idol which the people were constantly straying after. V'et Asheirah, and the Asheirah is a some kind of tree which they would plant near the Baal. It was like the consort, like the Baal was the male and the Asherah was the female goddess. They were kind of worshipped together as a team. Asherah love, and the Asherah which is growing next to the altar to Baal, Tichros, you should destroy it, cut it down. Now, so in other words, you need to demonstrate to the people that in order to lead them against the Midianites, you need to make sure that they not just build altars to God. God isn't just another God to worship, but we'll worship this one now and maybe he'll help us out. No, that's not how it works. You have to change your ways. You have to get rid of your corruptions. You have to get rid of your idols first. Then worship God. Then I want you to build a mizbeach, an altar to the Lord your God. This is the contrast to the original mizbeach. Just building an altar to God is not good enough. You need to demonstrate that you understand that the relationship with God is different from the relationship with those other idols. All those other idols, you can have an Asherah, you can have a this, you can have a that, you do a little bit of this over here, a little bit of that. That's not how it works with real God. Real God is just God. Because what real God wants is devotion. Al Rosh HaMa'oz Hazeh b'Marach. I want you to build it on the top of this Ma'oz. Exactly what a Ma'oz is like usually translated like level ground, or a large flat rock of some sort. On this Ma'aracha, meaning in this this flat area. So it has to be a place where you can set up. La'aroch is to set up. So it has to be an area where you can set up this rock. And then I want you to take the second one, and I want you to bring it as an offering, as a burnt sacrifice, by using the wood of the Asherah tree that you just cut down. In other words, you need to demonstrate concretely to the people that you're destroying the Baal, you're getting rid of the idolatry and rededicating yourself only to God. So, and this has to be shown clearly by showing I'm destroying the Baal in order to bring an offering to God. So, Vayikach Gideon 10 anashim me'avodav. Gideon took 10 of his servants, Vayas kasher diber elav Adonai, and he did just like God spoke to him. Now, apparently he did this not in public. He took 10 men, right? But it was 10 of his own servants, right? But he did it at night, right? He didn't do this in public in front of everyone. Whether this is because he was afraid or it seems like he was kind of afraid, and he did it at night. He was afraid of the reaction people were going to have, and we'll see why in a minute. Vayi kasher yoreh et beis aviv, and when his entire father's family saw, v'et anshe ha'ir, and the people of the city saw, me'asot yomam vaya'as laila. I'm sorry. And it was because he was afraid. I'm sorry, it's not, I should have made that clear. It's not that, like I was saying, that it's very clear from the verse. It says, because he was afraid that the people would see it. If he did it in the daytime, vaya'as laila, therefore he did it at nighttime. So we see Gideon here again being afraid, lacking confidence. God himself told him to do this. He shouldn't have been afraid. The whole point is he's supposed to be a leader of the people against the Midianites. He's supposed to have faith and trust in God. But again, first he asks for the sign, in order to be confident. Then he goes ahead and builds a mizbeach without destroying the Baal, and he needs to be told that he has to destroy the Baal first. And then when he carries it out, he's afraid to do it in public. So verse 28, Vayashkimu anshe ha'ir barboka, the people of the city wake up early in the morning, v'hinenu tatz mizbach Baal, and they see that the altar to the Baal has been destroyed, v'Asheirah asher alav korasa, and the Asheirah tree that is next to it has been cut down, v'atapar hasheni, and the second par ha'ala ala mizbeach habonoi has now been brought as a burnt sacrifice on this new altar. And people are saying to the others, Mi adavar hazeh, who could have done this? Now, of course, he had 10 people with it, so it's not going to be very easy to hide. So Vayidrashu, so they asked around, Vayavakshu, and searched Vayomru, and they said, Gideon ben Yoash asa adavar hazeh. It was Gideon, the son of Yoash, who did this. So the people are angry. He destroyed our idols. We need our idols. Vayomer anshe ha'ir el Yoash, the people of the city said to Yoash, his father, Hotzeas bincha v'yamos, send us out your son so we can put him to death. We see the depth to which the people had sunk, how deeply they had sunk into idol worship, that they're ready to destroy and execute someone because he has destroyed the altar of Baal and because he had cut down the Asheirah which was next to it. Vayomer Yoash l'chol asher amdu alav, and Yoash said to all of those people that were there with him, that were standing next to him and standing upon him and pushing to execute his son, ha'atem tirivun la Baal, are you guys going to fight the fights of Baal? Here Yoash realized that of what use is Baal? He can't even defend his own altar, right? So you guys, so you have to take up Baal's fight. Imatem toshiun oso. Are you going to save Baal? If Baal is such a god, asher yarivlo yumat ad haboker, right? Whoever fights his battles, whoever wants to go ahead and fight the battles of Baal, yumat ad haboker, I will put him to death tomorrow. If you're going to fight with me, I'll fight with you. In other words, you think you're going to fight Baal's fights? If Baal is so great, if Baal is such a great God, Yorev lo, let him fight. Kina tatzes mizbecho, because someone has destroyed his altar. If Baal is so great, let Baal fight his own fights, right? I'll protect my son. If you want to fight with me and you want to fight Baal's fights for him, I'll take you on and kill you. So in other words, Yoash stands up for his son. He recognizes the futility and uselessness of a God who can't even defend his own altar. And therefore, Yoash says, if you think there's so much power to this Baal that you're upset that someone destroyed his place of worship, if he's so great, he'll take care of himself. And obviously, he can't. Vayikra lo bayomahu Yiru Baal. And they called Yoash from then on by the name of Yiru Baal, which Lamar meaning Yiru, meaning to fight, to fight Baal, meaning as follows: Lamar Yorev bo ha-Baal, may the Baal fight for himself, ki notates mizbecho, because his mizbeach, his altar had been destroyed. So here we have this episode of Gideon establishing to the people the uselessness and futility of going after this idol, and establishing that there is only one God, and one God which we need to devote ourselves to in order to begin a successful campaign to save the people from the Midianites. I'm going to stop here. This is a long chapter, and each story has its own power. We'll continue and hopefully complete chapter 6 in the next podcast. Thank you so much for studying together. Looking forward to studying the rest together as well.